We are back. One more week here. Listen, Patrice, could you make a note that somebody will go in and renumber the episodes, because this is actually episode 5 and it's marked episode 4.
Okay, we'll do.
And so we have to go back and do that. Now, the reason why whoever's doing it missed it because we don't have the flyer up on one. It's just me. So that is actually one of them. So they got to include that one in numbering. Okay.
Okay, we are episode 5. Oh, got it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. All right, everybody. Listen. Today we're going to be talking about student loans, and next week. Oh my gosh. Next week, you don't want to miss next week because somebody suggested that we talk about investments and retirement. Investments and retirement. So you want to get your questions in. So Patrice is going to let you know how to get your questions in so that if you have questions about retirement, if you have questions about retirement or investing, we're going to have an expert on next week. All right. His name is Perry Jeffries, and we're going to put his information in the chat, in the comment section right now. So while we're getting that put in the comment section, could I get everyone to say good evening so I have some idea of who you are? Because I can't see you. You can see me, but I can't see you. So if you would just say good evening, that would be, oh, listen, that's great. That's great, Miriam. All right, I see you, Nicole. All right, Janet, I see you. Okay. All right, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a minute, but I'm going to, please remind me to mention about next week and Mr. Perry Jeffries. Let's go ahead and get his link put in the...
I'm grabbing that right now to put in
okay, great. So we're going to put his link in there. Oh, look at that. Look at it. More people are saying good evening. All right, Harold. I see you, Carolina. Sandy. All right. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to you. We're getting ready to get started. We're going to jump in there with prayer. All right. So there's the link, everybody. Perry Jeffries. Go ahead and click on that. Okay. If you will click on that, you will see who we're talking about. He is a financial expert that works with our team here at Pill Method, okay? And he is phenomenal. You are going to love what he has to say. It's down-to-earth information you'll be able to get. So don't miss next week. Do not miss next week when we're talking about not loans, but retirement and investing. Retirement and investing. All right, Evelyn. I see you, Evelyn Jean Paul. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. All right, everybody. Let's get started with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, tonight, we are going to be talking about something that is plaguing people right now. Student loan debt, plaguing people, and they don't know what to do. Tonight, Father, we're asking you to lead us and guide us and help us to take care of our obligations and do it in such a way that we can have more money left over to do the things that we need to do, like take care of our families and fund the church. Oh my goodness. I can't, I just get so excited, Lord, when I get an opportunity to talk about these things. So please give me the words, give me the strength of mind to come up with the right words, with the right sentences. And I pray that everyone under the sound of my voice will pray for me during the entire program tonight, so that I will be hid behind you so that they can make that will get good information, not just good information, but God information. Father, we thank you for taking care of us, for blessing us, and we thank you especially for everyone who is attending this program this evening. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, folks, we're getting ready to get started, and we're going to jump in here. So I want to talk about. I've got my notes over here. Okay, here's where we want to start. Okay, where are my notes? Okay, there they are. All right. What we need to know and why. What do we need to know about loans and money and why? How many of you have ever had a class on how loans actually work? Student loans, credit cards, car loans, mortgages. How many of you have ever had that class on how they work, how the bank makes their money, okay? And how you can defeat that system. Have you ever had that class? Okay? Anybody ever had that class? I'm just asking. All right? Could you put in the chat for me? Yes, a yes or a no. Can you put in the chat for me? Have you ever had? This is why it is important. We are playing a game we don't have the rules to. Okay? We don't have the rules to this. Okay? Because we don't have the rules to it, we end up with things like student loans, which hang around like household pets that never go away. And I'm going to be talking to you about how to decipher student loans. Plus, we're going to be talking about a program, a government program that is going to help you to pay back your loans easier. And there is a forgiveness component, and you're actually going to like what I have to say. All right. So we're going to jump into that in just a few minutes. But listen, Ecclesiastes 10:19. Okay. I need you all to write that down. Ecclesiastes 10:19. And the last part of that is money answers all things. Okay. Money answers all things. And what we're going to be able to find out is that we have been put here on the earth to manage things, to manage the earth, to manage its resources. And God gives us resources to manage. And let me say that it was a blessing for me to learn about tithing when I joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And how that has blessed me is in several ways. But I think the major thing is learning how not to be selfish, because my giving has gone on beyond the church. Okay, it's gone out into the community. And when this type of giving goes on, it comes back to you in several different ways. It may not come back to you from the person you gave it to, but you cannot beat God giving. I mean, you just can't. So as we learn how to be more, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? We want to become more powerful with our money. Okay. We want it to do exactly what God wants it to do. So can I say this without getting in trouble? Listen, I'm so thankful for the information on tithing. We know what to do with God's 10%. We know what to do with it. But we need to spend more time in church talking about what to do with the 90%, because that's what we have to manage. That's what we've been given to manage. We don't steward the tithe. The tithe is a mandate. We don't steward that. We steward the rest. So let's learn how we can add this component to the church to help us to do whatever we can to bring this to light so that we could do more with the 90% that God has given us so that we can have money to take care of our families, to take care of our houses, to take care of our children, to take care of Christian education, to take care of retirement. Listen, we have enough money to do all of that when we know how to manage it because we understand how money works. You know, I'm excited about the whole thing. I'm excited about this. All right, so let's jump into this. Let me see here. So here's what we're going to do to teach us about how to manage a student loan. I'm going to start out with this mortgage. Okay, we're going to put this on the screen right now. Okay, we're going to start out with this mortgage, and so that we can understand student loans. Here is a $700,000 mortgage. $700,000, ladies and gentlemen, at 4%. Here is the payment is $3,341.91. Here's what we need to understand. It's a $700,000 house, but that's not the true cost of the home. The bank wants over 30 years, $503,807.06. $503,087.60. Folks, that doesn't look like 4% to me. If we look over to the right, it's actually 71.870. All right. The reason why I'm starting here is I need you to write this down, and you can even add it to the chat. Okay. If you can control the principal payment on a loan, you control the loan. And interest payments you skip don't matter. I'll repeat that one more time. If you can control the principal payment on the loan, you control it. And interest payments you skip don't matter. I don't care how high they are. If you skip them, it doesn't matter. Okay. So let's jump into this and let me show you what I mean. Okay. We have $2,333.33 going to interest. On this loan, look at $1,000 goes to principal. Okay. Now, let me show you something about where the interest rates are today. So this is a 4% loan. Okay. This is a 4% loan. What if it's more like what we have right now, which is loans are right around about 7.5% now. They're coming down. Okay. They were at 8%, but they're coming down. Now, we had a 4% loan, but remember, the principal payment was right around $1,000. But look at the same loan, all right, at 7.5%. Look at the principal payment now. It's almost half. It's almost half. Hey, Deborah. Hey, Janet. Good to see you. All right. So listen. Now, if you were here before, let me go over prepayment of principal for you, because that's what we're going to be talking about tonight in terms of a student loan. Okay. So $519.50 for the first principal payment, and then $522.75 for the second principal payment. Now, the higher the interest rate, the lower the principal payment. The lower the interest rate, the higher the principal payment. Now, let's go back to the 4% loan. Okay, let's go back to the 4% loan. What did I do with that? Uh-oh, I got rid of it. Hold on. We've got to let me do this. We're going to do the tab here. All right. And we're going to put back the 4%. Get rid of this. There we go. There's the 4% loan. Look at there. Now, let's stick with this 4% loan for a second. If I make a payment in January, all right, all this money goes to the bank, all right, and my total payment is $3,341.91. If I make this payment, then $1,008.58 pays down the loan, while the bank gets all of this money in interest, $2,333.33. Let's say I make that payment in January, which makes February's principal payment here. Now, I don't have to wait till February to give the bank that money. If I have it, I can give it to the bank early. Yeah. If I give this to the bank early, the money they were looking for the next month, I'm paid down to line 2 on my amortization schedule in just 1 month. Now, I need everybody to remember this because I'm going to be asking you some questions about the student loan. And listen, I'm not going to go forward until you give me the answer. So pay attention to this part so that you can give me the answer on the student loan. Is everybody ready? Okay, here we go. Back to the screen. Okay, so here we are. So if I prepay this, I'm paid down to here in 1 month, all right, in January. And my next mortgage payment for February is actually on line 3. There it is. What just happened? I just eliminated 1 monthly payment from 360 payments, and I just skipped this interest payment of $2,329.97. Do you see that, ladies and gentlemen? That's $2,300 that this family will not have to pay if they prepay this. Okay? They get rid of one loan, but at the lower interest rate, it takes $1,000 to prepay to get rid of one whole line on your amortization schedule, right? But look at this. Look at this. At 7.5%, where the loans are now. Look at these principal payments now. I make a mortgage payment, but down they say, look at these high interest payments. But guess what? Look at this. I got $500 here. If I prepay that $500, I don't have to pay this $4,000. Now remember, if I prepay $1,000 on the other loan, I get rid of one line and one interest payment. A little over $1,050, about $1,050 here, a little over $1,000 prepay. That would be these two. Okay. If I prepay that $1,000, look, I get rid of two lines on my amortization schedule and I save over $8,000 in interest. What do you say to that? Okay. So remember when I said control the principal payment and you control the loan? So if you see an interest payment and a principal payment and the principal payment looks tiny, I need you to know that you are in control. You are in better control of that loan. Okay? So now, are you ready to learn how to read and understand a student loan and how to beat it? Are you ready? Could you put a number 7 in the chat if you're ready to learn this about student loans and you're ready to work with me tonight, because I need you to work with me on this. Okay. Put a number 7 in the chat if you're ready to go to work. Okay. Come on, May. I see you. May's ready to go to work. All right. Tish. Oh, listen, a bunch of you. All right, Nicole. Okay, Janet. I see you. All right. Okay, Trish. Okay, Deborah. All right. So let's take a look at this. I need you. Listen, this is I get an opportunity. Jerry Harvey, I see you, number 7. Okay. Evelyn Jean. Okay, Aisha. Listen, you guys are warming my heart. You're warming my heart tonight. Okay, all right. I'm glad to see you all participating. So I need you all to continue to participate with what you just learned. All right. Now, I get opportunity to speak to the students at Oakwood University from time to time about their student loans. Okay. And this particular meeting was held in the dorm. I think it was Edwards. I think it was Edwards Hall. And so, I did the presentation, and they liked it. And I think I called it, your parents are spending your inheritance on interest. And I got their attention. Your parents are spending your inheritance on interest. All right. So when we finished, somebody called me some months later. And this is what he talked to me about. And we're putting that on the screen. He says, listen, I just got a car. I got a job and I just got a car, and I have a student loan, and I want to be able to pay off the car and the student loan. So can you help me? I said, well, sure. Tell me what's going on. And so he tells me what's going on. And he says he was blessed to have a student loan of only $9,500, not $95,000, not $195,000, but only $9,500 at 6% interest, $50 a month. Okay. So he says, I want to be able to, do some of the things that you were teaching us so I can pay this off and pay my car off as well. I said, okay. So first tell me, how long do you think it's going to take you to pay this loan off at $50 a month at 6% interest? I need you all. That's why I left this blank. The number of payments is left blank. Just take a guess. All right. Don't try to do any math. Just take a guess. How long should it take? Give me a number of years. How many years should it take to pay this loan off? $9,500. Put your guesses in the chat for me, in the comment section. Put your guesses in. How many years should it take to pay off $9,500? Trish says 12 years. Okay. Can I get some other guesses? Okay. Let's get some other guesses. Trish says 12. Anybody else? Jerry said forever. Jerry, that's your sense of humor. All right. Deborah says 3 years. All right. Anybody else? Any other guesses? I got 12. I got forever. I got 30 years. I got 15 years. I got 8 years. Let's click on, listen. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, this is Brett Whistle. All right. And I'm going to put that, I'm going to have, you need to, if you're not using this to play around with, this is a great educational tool. So we're going to copy the link to this so that you can play around with it yourself. And we're going to put it over here. So Patrice can send that over to you, Brett Whistle, so that you can have that link so that you can have this as well to play around with. Okay. So now I left the number of payments blank. So here's what I put in. I put in $9,500. I put in the interest rate, and I put in the payment per month. The only thing I didn't put in was the number of payments, and the program will calculate whatever is left open. Okay. There you go. Oh, I got 5 years. Okay. So we're going to calculate that and see. Look here, folks, 601 payments. 601 payments. That is 50. Look here, I got it highlighted on the screen. That's 50 years. 50 years. 50 years. I'll say it one more time. 50 years. Somebody gave this student right out of Oakwood University a payment program that was going to take them 50 years. Jerry Harvey says, I told you forever. Nicole, listen, listen, I need you. This is why I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you guys the calculator so you can do it yourself and see what I'm talking about. Okay. $9,500 at $50 a month. Now, let's see how much interest they want him to pay on a $9,500 loan. Okay. And have no qualms about it. They don't care. I mean, it's great. They say this is good. All right. So, how much interest? $20,550 interest will be paid on this loan if he keeps it for 30 years. If he just keeps making the $50 payment. $20,550 for a total repayment of $30,050. Okay, May, I see what you're saying. Listen, Janet. No, listen. I wish I was kidding, Janet. I wish I was kidding, but it's true. This is what's going on. But I'm telling you, you are armed with enough information to beat this loan now. Okay? So here, I need you to see what's going on with these payments. Okay? The very first payment, $2.50 goes to principal and $47.50 goes to interest. The next month, it gets better. Okay? $2.51 goes to principal and $47.49 goes to interest. Look at that. Look at that. You're right. Much more than the original loan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's my question to you. If I make this payment, if I make the very first payment on this loan, okay? If I make this very first payment on this loan in January, okay? What do I have to do? What do I have to do to get rid of $47.49 worth of interest? You tell me, based on what you've learned already. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait here until somebody puts it in the chat. Let's see who's been listening. What do I have to do to get rid of one payment on this schedule and save $47.49 worth of interest I never have to pay? Can you remember? Uh-oh. Miriam says, prepay $2.51 early. Demond says pay $2.51 early. Listen, somebody has been listening to what I'm saying. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. Let me do something here. This is for you guys. You have been listening and you got it right. You've been listening and you got it right. So listen, if we knew this, remember, control the principal payment and you control the loan. I got to ask. Do you believe that this information is a blessing? And has anybody ever told you about this before? Has anybody ever told you this before? Okay. Do you believe it's a blessing? Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at this. So and listen, watch this. So if I make my regular student loan payment here, okay, what happens if I give them an extra $5? An extra $5, I knock out 2 payments, and my next student loan payment is actually on line 4. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, just $5 extra on this loan. Okay, now the reason why I'm showing this to you and we use Brett Whistle is because of these 2 columns that you do not get when you get an amortization schedule from the bank. Cumulative principal, cumulative interest. Cumulative principal and cumulative interest. Okay, so in one year, by following the bank's program, by following what we've been taught, How much will we pay this loan down in 1 year? How much will we pay this loan down in 1 year? Put it in the chat. After 12 months of payments, just like the bank wants us to, how much how much will we pay on this loan? How much will we bring it down? How much goes to principal in just 1 year? Somebody look at the screen and tell me. Put it in the chat. I need to know that you're listening to me. Okay? Look at cumulative principal. That's column 3 and column 4. There you go. $30.84, Demand. You are exactly right. There it is, Trish. $30.84. Isn't this ridiculous? After 1 year, after 1 year, you're going to pay this loan down by $30.84. Ah! Well, listen, thank you for commenting on my energy. I can't help it. I just can't help it. $30.84. And how much interest? Look at that. How much interest? Just go to cumulative interest, one column to the left. How much interest in 1 year? How much interest? Come on. How much interest in just 1 year after paying down this loan by $30.84? How much interest are we going to give the bank in that 1 year? Jerry, yeah, I know. I know, May. I know it's robbery. Okay? I know. Demand says $569.16. You are right. Miriam, $569.16. You are exactly right. Trish, come on, Trish. $569.16. So here's my question, everybody. Do I have to pay? Come on, Sharon. I see you. Thank you for that. $30.84. If I know I'm going to pay that in 1 year, the way the bank wants me to, do I have to pay this in 12 monthly installments? All these $2.50 payments. Do I have to pay the $30.84 in all of these principal payments? Do I have to give it in 12 monthly payments? Yes or no? Do I have to give that to the bank in 12 monthly payments? No, Miriam says. You see, because I can give it. If I have an extra $30, do you think I can find $30 somewhere? If I give this to the bank all at once, I'm going to make my regular payment, okay, of $50, and then I'm going to give them $30 on top of it. I'm paid down to line 12 on this loan in 1 month. You don't believe me? Let me put a calculator on the screen. Let's slide it over. Here it is. I started out at $9,500. Okay. And I'm going to give the bank $30.84 on my principal up front. Subtract $30.84. Give it to them all at once. Look at this. I still owe $9,469.16. That's exactly what I have right here, ladies and gentlemen. So you can give that money to them in 12 monthly installments, or you could give it to them all at once. Can I show you something that's very exciting now that you kind of understand how to deal with these loans? Look at how much you would pay in 2 years. $63.57 takes 2 years off this loan. What? Do you know how excited that student from Oakwood University got when he learned this? $63.57 takes 2 years off this loan and saves over $1,000 in interest. Oh, but I'm not done. $98.33 takes off 3 years. Come on, everybody. Are you loving this or what? Do you think God's people need to know how to handle money like this so that we can have more money to build up Christ's kingdom? This is why the devil is mad. He doesn't want us to have money. Spend all your money paying your student loans. Spend all your money on a mortgage. Spend all your money on interest on a car loan. Spend all your money on these loans. Spend all your money, spend all your money, spend all your money just living. And there is less money that can go into ministry. And he says, if we can keep the money in our ranks, then the more money that these people get, they'll steal our subjects away. Satan does not want us to have money. So listen, $98 knocks off 3 years off this loan and saves $1,700 in interest you'll never have to pay. Oh my goodness. Look at that. I gotta show you a little bit more. So listen, you can do this yourself, but I just get excited. $135 knocks off 4 years. $174. $174 paid early on this loan knocks off 5 years and saves $2,800 in interest. Whew. Oh man. Listen, are you excited tonight to get this? So I've got some really good information on student loans. I got some. You think this is exciting? I got some other exciting news for you. I think it's time for a break.
It is time for a break. For those of you who have been watching this and you really have that explosive emoji, please put them in the comments, because this information right now, our son is graduating next month from Southern Adventist University, and he does have student loans, and I have already sent him this link to already be in the process to pay off his student loans in a little of no time, because this is so helpful. So please, if you are currently have a student who's paying student loans, and you know someone whose child is in school and needs to pay those loans, please copy this link. I'm going to put it back in the chat again in case some of you may have missed it. Here it is right here. I'm going to put this in here right now. Apply to save right into the comments. So please copy that. And when this video becomes a video, I'll make sure that these links are also within the description of the box as well. So we're going to turn it right back over to our host tonight, Don Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm back. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take just a little bit of history of student loans here. Okay. History of student loans. And I've got a couple of podcasts I'd like you to listen to. You are going to be so amazed at the history of student loans. So here's one from Throughline. Can we put the podcast from Throughline in the chat? You want to listen. I love Throughline because it's history. All right. But it's history made interesting. So this is the history of student loans in America. Oh my goodness. All right. And there is another podcast on student loans that you're going to like. And this goes over President Biden's student loan program. Now, you heard about the program. Where President Biden says, listen, I'm going to wipe out a great deal of student loan debt. And Congress blocked it. And a lot of people got upset. But listen, when you look at Planet Money, okay, when you listen to Planet, the one from Planet Money here, all right, let's go ahead and put that link in from Planet Money. Okay, we're going to put that in. So you want to copy that. This talks about the new program that was introduced at the same time President Biden introduced the program that got blocked. Okay. It's at the same time. But the reason why it didn't catch anybody's attention because it's a repayment program. It's a repayment program. But it's a repayment program that that is disguised. It's really a forgiveness program. Okay, so can listen. I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you some. I have some other links that you can read up on it. All right, and we're not going to put those in just right now. But I've got some fact sheets from the White House on this new program. It's called the SAVE program. SAVE, SAVE program, and I've got some fact sheets on that we're going to be able to give you. All right, but let me tell you a little bit about some of the good things that are in this new program that kind of slid in under the wire because everybody was either liking or hating President Biden's forgiveness program. All right. So here's this. So when you apply for the SAVE program, it is designed, if you have a payment, it is designed to cut your payment about in half. So apply. Okay. It's designed, that's number one, designed to cut your payment in half. How do you like that, everybody? How do you like that? Number two, if you have, if your income is, if when you apply and your income is such, you may qualify for zero payments. Zero payments. $0. You may qualify for a $0 payment. The SAVE program, ladies and gentlemen, the SAVE program. Okay. Now, some of you may know this to be a fact. Have you ever heard of a income-based repayment program? An income-based repayment program. All right. And with those income-based repayment programs, they really don't change the amortization schedule like we've been working with. What they do is they just lower the payment. And sometimes they lower the payment so much so it doesn't cover the interest, all the interest on the loan. It only pays a portion of the interest on the loan. What happens to the unpaid interest? Does anybody know? When you don't cover all the interest on your loan payment, what happens to the unpaid interest? It gets added to your loan. It gets added to your loan. Do you know, I know people. Listen, I've had them in my office right here in Huntsville. Graduated from Oakwood 30 years ago, still faithfully paying on their student loans. And they owe more now than when they graduated. They owe more now than when they graduated because all of that interest got added to their loan and they started to pay interest on their interest. I want you to know that the word for that is called capitalization. Capitalization. That's what it's called. Capitalization. Okay? All right. Capitalization. That system is gone. No more. Any unpaid interest is just forgiven. No more adding interest to the loans. No more. It's gone in the SAVE program. What do you say, everybody? Can I get an amen on that? Okay? If you know anybody who's had that trouble, they don't have that trouble anymore with the SAVE program. Now, whatever your payment is, whether it's a tiny payment, whether it's a zero payment, okay, whatever it is, if you haven't paid your student loan off in 20 years, the rest is forgiven. Why is that important? Why is that important? Okay. Can I show you something here? Let me put my calculator on the screen. I'm putting a calculator on the screen. Okay. So let's just say, if you have a student loan, all right, you got a student loan and you have a payment, you got a payment of $100 a month. Okay. You got $100 a month. All right. And after 20 years, that's 240 payments. Okay. Times 240 payments equals $24,000. If your student loan is 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, and you paid $100 a month for 20 years, this is all you pay. The rest is forgiven. That's the SAVE program, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what if your payment is $0? The same thing happens. After 20 years of zero payments, the rest is forgiven. It's in the paperwork I'm getting ready to send over to you right now. It's on the government website. I am not making it up. I'm not making it up. But when you hear the podcast from Planet Money, they'll go into this deeper. All right. Plus the podcast from Throughline will give you the history of student loans, and it may make you angry because student loan, it didn't start out to be a student loan program. It didn't start out that way. It started out to be government paid higher education, but there was so much pushback. Said, okay, we'll just lend them the money, and then they have to pay it back. But then it became a whole big thing. I mean, a huge thing, to the point where colleges and universities were working with banks to make sure students received these loans. Now, here's what's killing me. Here's what I just couldn't wrap my mind around. Here's a student with no income, hasn't even graduated, no prospect of income, but they can get tens and even hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans on their signature. How does that happen? Because, and why would anybody lend them money? Because it was a government-backed program and the loans were guaranteed. So they started out with private lenders. So the private lender said, no matter what, we get paid. Yeah, I'll lend money to you. I'll lend it to you. Anytime you ask, I will lend it to you. Freshman. Okay. Sophomore, junior, senior, I'll lend you the money because the government promises to pay me back. And I don't care if you ever finish because you signed a note to pay me, whether the government pays me or not. So whatever you pay me, even if it takes you 30 years, I don't care. That's gravy. Put that right on top. Listen, I need you to hear. Listen, I need you to listen. I know, Sandy. I know. But listen to the story. Come on. It's on Throughline. The link is there. You got to listen to it. Okay. All right. Yes. Guaranteed. But all of that has gone away now. All of that's gone away. So here's what you need to understand about this new SAVE program. How was President Biden able to do this program and the other one got shut down? The presidency does not have the authority to make a forgiveness program, but they do have the authority. Every single president since Bill Clinton. Every single president since Bill Clinton can develop their own repayment program with the Department of Education by law. By law. And this one by far is the best one written that we I believe in history. When you take a look at this, so let's put the links in the chat. So we're putting in the links so that you can read the fact sheet. One is says the income driven repayment fact sheet. So we're going to put that one in first, and then there's a read more fact sheet so that you guys can get this information. And then we're going to post the link to apply one more time. We're going to put that link in one more time. Okay. So let's go ahead and put that in. All right. As we're putting those things in, let me go over. Okay, the SAVE program is the sixth repayment program. All right, I'm just giving you some of the facts. Okay, it's the sixth repayment program, and it's unlike all others because it includes loan forgiveness. Oh my goodness! All right, and I call it loan forgiveness in slow motion. Because if you get once you apply for the SAVE program and you get your, even if you have a payment, your payment will be cut in half. But eventually, if your loan is so big that your small payment will never pay it off, in 20 years you're done. Okay, in 20 years you're done. All right, it will lower your payments. Some of you will qualify for zero payments. We talked about that. As long as you're paying your loans. Okay, here's another note. I already talked about this, but it bears repeating. As long as you're paying your loans, any interest not covered isn't subject to capitalization. It's gone. All right. So you don't have to pay the unpaid interest anymore. All right. Let me see here. All right. Okay. You're fortunate to have a good paying job. All right. Paying, let's see, or you have a successful business with a great income, then you will have to repay your loan. So here's how you can save the interest on those loans. So we just talked about how you can save additional interest on these loans. All right. So let's talk about that for a minute. Can we go back to the screen? Let's go back to the screen. All right. And do you, Patrice, do you have any other programs coming up this week that we could talk about while I get a drink of water?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to put them here in the comments. But first, before I do that, for those of you who would like to be a part of our text family and to get alerts when we are having programs like Don Daniel, please make sure you come right here and look at the screen here. You'll see these wonderful letters, which are Living Manna Online Church, LMOC. Please text 84576 and you will get real time, and you really do get real time text announcements and alerts and reminders from Living Manna Church of the programs that we have coming up here. And it's a great way of community as well. So please be sure to check us out. And we look forward to fellowshipping with you every day here at Living Manna Church.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, let's talk about those people who have student loans they have good jobs, but they have healthy, pretty big student loans. Here at the Pill Method, our track record has been that people can pay off their student loans in 5 to 7 years. Yeah, I'll repeat that. If you have a job, a very good job, and you need to pay, and you have to pay your loans, all right? And you have to pay off the entire loan, then we can help you. You can pay that loan off in 5 to 7 years. Okay. So we're going to put a link in the chat so that you can, it's going to be ice10k.com. We're going to put that in the chat so that now here's the thing. If you have student loans, you have more than one. I've met people with 18 different student loans. Okay. All right. Patrice, could you mute? All right. So you can get a lot of student loans. So which one do you pay first? And when and how much do you put on there? How much do you prepay? You see, that now we're getting into a situation where it's not an easy thing to do. You want to get the biggest bang for your buck and save the most amount of money in interest that you possibly can. Okay. So if I have a student loan, okay, and let's just say my student loan is $150,000. Okay, $150,000. All right, and I have an interest rate, okay, that's averaging about 6%. Okay, averaging about 6%. All right. I don't know how many payments I have, but I have a $700 a month payment. Okay. Let me calculate that and see if that works out. Nope, it doesn't work out. Okay. Let me see. Does $1,000 a month work? Let's see. Yeah, $1,000 a month works. So it takes about no, I got the wrong. Hold on for a second, folks. Did I have one too many zeros in there? Yeah, I do. Hold on. Wait a second. No, I had the right amount. Okay, 0. All right, and I don't want six. I don't want 16 payments. Let me see. Let's just say I'm going to put in 300 payments for um for 25 years. 300 payments. Okay, let's just see what that is. Okay, $966.45. Okay. $966.45 would be the payment. All right. On this loan. So what we would need to know is how much to prepay and when. I can give you some guidance, but you want to know how much interest you can save and what is the most interest you can save with the least amount of money. That's where our program comes in and does all the math for you. So you can get a savings and earnings report for free for going to ice10k.com and clicking on the button that says get a savings and earnings report. But here is a situation where we have $216.45 going to principal. The next month is $217. Now we already talked about prepayment, what could happen. But what if we prepaid 3 of these? And what if we had a little extra money and we could prepay 3 of these? I eliminate over $2,200 in interest I never have to pay. If I'm fortunate enough to be able to save up, I can have $2,600 I can apply to the student loan, depending on my job. Maybe I have a great job. All right. And I can actually put $2,600 on the student loan. I can knock off 1 year's worth of payments and save $8,900 in interest. That's a lot of interest I don't have to pay. So with our program, we will be looking at the amount of interest. All of your payments. All right. Oh, your mortgage payment, your student loans, your car loans, and your credit cards. It all goes into the system. And the program will direct you on which loan to prepay, what month to do it in, what day of the month to do it on, and how much interest you're going to save. It's all about saving the interest. And if you can save enough interest, what could you do with the money that you were supposed to give to the bank? You can invest it in your future. Okay? Now, some of you may be a little behind on your retirement savings. We're going to be talking about that next week. I want to emphasize that Perry Jeffries is going to be coming. If you came late, next week we're going to be talking about investment and retirement. Somebody asked about that. Now, if you have an idea about a subject that you want to cover, please share it with me. All right. But we need you to prepare some questions, and we're going to get those questions into Patrice somehow. I don't know how she's going to do it. Okay. Prepare some questions. That way there won't be any lag time between handling questions, but we'll still be able to take questions from the chat. But if we have some already set, then there won't be any downtime waiting for a question to be typed in. So if you can send your questions early, that would be wonderful. All right, so that we can get that. So look up Perry Jeffries. Let's go ahead and put Perry's link back in so you can meet Perry Jeffries. He is a financial expert, a CFP. He's got all sorts of licenses. He could do all sorts of insurances and investments and annuities and listen and give you strategies. He's going to be talking about strategies that what you can employ to help you in your retirement. Now listen, as you're also giving to ministry, you can do it all. There is enough money there to do it all when we know how to manage it. If we can cut our interest cost, we have enough money to invest in our future and give to ministry. And, okay, one more time. Can I do another and? And pay for Christian education. Even if you work for the church. What, Don? Wait a minute. Are you telling me? Listen, everybody needs to hear this. It is possible. And listen, I have pastors on this program, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay. It is possible for people who work for the church to be able to pay for their kids' Christian education and save for retirement. They don't have to choose between the two. And pay off their house early. What? They can go into retirement debt-free and have money to put into retirement savings and pay for their children's Christian education. You wondering how that's done? Well, listen. Let me give you a little hint. Now, these aren't exact numbers. Okay? These aren't exact numbers. But let me give you something here. Okay? Like on this $700,000 mortgage, the bank wants $503,000 in interest. Okay? So let me see here. 503, let's see. 503,000. All right. Let me see. Let me divide that by 3. 167,000. Okay. Let's see. So 167,666. So we're going to put that. Okay. 503,000 minus 167,000 equals, that's $335,000. Okay. What if you could buy this house for $335,000 less? I mean, it's a payment you can afford, right? I mean, you wouldn't be in this house if it's a payment you can afford. But what if you could pay just a third of the interest that the bank is looking for to have the same house, to purchase the same asset? That means there's money that you didn't have to pay the bank, and you'll be able to invest in some things that you wanted to invest in, like retirement, like Christian education, like um, you know, just creating memories with the family, creating memories with the family. I listen. My wife talked to one young couple who decided to buy an RV, homeschool the children, and drive around the country and educate them on not only um, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but geography, real time. Okay. There's a lot of things you'll be able to do that you couldn't do because we didn't know how to manage the money. Do I have any questions? Do you have any questions for me? Anytime I'm here, don't be afraid to put questions in the chat. All right. You will not disrupt my talk because you will be adding to the talk. Please place your questions in the chat if you have a question about any of this. Okay. All right. Great, great, great. Listen, I had a good time. And because I kept you overtime last time, I kept you here for the whole 2 hours last week. it was it was that good. So we may be able to get out here a little early today. But listen, do you have any questions? Any questions for me? All right, we'll give them a minute, Patrice. Do you have some? Now I understand here at Living Manna and Power of the Lamb that you have other programming throughout the week. Is that true?
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, we do. As Don's taking a little break, we do have several programs on. Tonight, obviously, is our special series on finances here with Money Answers All Things with Don Daniels. That is taking place promptly at 8:30 every Thursday. We're at tonight's episode 5, and we have 3 episodes, but we're going to see if we can try and talk them into 2 extra. I don't know. I can't promise anything, but maybe if you squeeze him a little bit, maybe he will. But on Mondays, our mental health Mondays are with Sister Tante Myers and Dr. Ricardo White, which is an amazing program on mental health. Tuesdays is True Health Tuesdays with Dr. Roger Swelt and Dr. Kenesha Reynolds, who give an excellent program on all facets of health, naturopathic as well as in regular medical treatments, and answering your questions on those fields as well. Power Wednesdays, if you know anything or know nothing about Living Manna Church, one thing we want to introduce you to is to our prayer warriors. And they are a prayer warrior team here, par excellence. So Power Wednesdays takes place. And if you have a prayer request, and I really want to put that in the chat right now, if you have a prayer request, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to send your prayer requests to, and I want to see if I have it in here. And it looks like I don't, but I'll put it in here. If you have a prayer request, please send your prayer request to prayer@livingmanna.live. Our prayer warriors really do answer every prayer email, and they are constantly 24 hours a day. Someone is praying for the requests that are coming in, and they're coming in by the tens and by the hundreds here at Living Manna Church. So please take advantage of that. If you're in a situation where you need prayer, please join us on Wednesday night on Altar Live. And if you have a prayer request, a special one, please, and it doesn't matter special or not special, but even if it's a private one, please email your prayer request to prayer@livingmanna.live, and I will put that information in the chat for you. And now we're going to bring you back to Don Daniel.
All right, we got some questions coming in. So let's go and highlight Trisha's question first. We'll put that on the screen. It says, she says, does paying off the mortgage as you've been teaching for churches if they borrow from? Can churches be paid off? Well, listen, the average house, the average family pays off their debt with the pill method in 7 to 9 years. Churches can be paid off in 5 to 7 years without extra giving from the members. Yeah, that's what I said. It can be done without extra giving from the members. All right, listen. I got on the screen here a $1.2 million loan. Okay, it's a church. Okay, $1.2 million. The payment is for 30 years, $7,194.61. Now, I guess I should change this because it's hard to get a 30-year loan. You can get usually a 25-year loan on a commercial. That's 300 payments. So let me change the payment to 300. Okay, that will increase our payment here a little bit. Okay, to $7,731.62. Now, I need I need you to understand that if the church has a reserve fund, and a lot of churches do have a reserve fund. Okay. Now, I saw where I'm reading in one of our periodicals. I can't remember which one, but a church that paid off their loan, but they mentioned that they had a reserve fund was over $100,000. I think it was like $200,000 that they kept in reserve just in case some catastrophe happened and they had to fix a lot of stuff. Okay. But that reserve fund was built up over the years, from regular giving from the members. So they had the tithe and then the offering, all right? And when we put the tithe and the offering in, and then the offering is used to pay the bills and fund the departments. And the church was really good at giving, so there was a certain amount of money that went into the reserve fund every month as well. Okay, so they had enough overflow to put some money in the reserve fund. So let me ask you, if I have $200,000 in the reserve fund, all right, and let's just say in this particular church, they can afford to put, let's say, $5,000 in the reserve fund every month. Well, if it's 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, I'm just picking out some numbers here so that you can see my point. All right, to make it easy, so they can put $5,000 into the reserve fund. So now I need you to take a look here. Okay. In the first year on this loan, they paid this loan down by $21,360.51 and pay $71,000 in interest. Do you all see that? You see that, Trish? Okay. Now, they can get the extra money from the members, or if they have 200 in my imaginary church here, they have $200,000 in reserve. Could they take $20,000 out of the reserve fund, Trish? Could they take $20,000 out of the reserve fund and apply it to this loan and knock off a year's worth of payments and save over $70,000 and save about $70,000 in interest? Could they do that? And their next payment and their next payment would actually be on line 13. Okay. And they now if they still have $180,000 in the reserve fund. Okay. They still have 180,000 in the reserve fund. And then so somebody says we can't keep depleting the reserve fund. So we have to put the money back before we do this again. It's a good idea, but we have to put the money back. If they took $20,000 out and they put in $5,000 a month, how long would it take them to put the $20,000 back in the reserve fund, everybody, at $5,000 a month? How long would it take them to put it back? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. All right. Let me see here. Let me see what I have. 4 times 5. What? 4 times 5 is 20. So here's what's going to happen. We take $20,000 out. We apply it to this. We knock off 1 year's worth of payment because we're paid all the way down to here in 1 month, right? Our next mortgage payment is here. So we have 4 months of regular mortgage payments to make. Okay. While we're putting back the money in the reserve fund. 1, 2, 3, 4. We made that payment. And now we can put another $20,000 on and knock off maybe another 11 or 12 months. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we start here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 12. Let's say we'll do about 12. We could be paid down to there in about 5 months doing that system. Does it make sense? Okay. So what I did was we made the first payment. We put $20,000 with it. Okay. Out of the reserve fund. We're paid down to here. Then we paid, that was 1 month. Then we paid 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Now that's 5 months total. And then we put another $20,000 on and knocked off another 12 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. So that's 1 month plus 4 months plus 1 month. 6 months. 1 month. Yeah. Plus 4 months. Plus 1. 6 months. 6 months gets us all the way down to here and saving a lot of interest. So Trish, does that make sense? if the church has a reserve fund, they can leverage the reserve fund, put the money back, and then use it again. Now, our program tells them exactly how much money they can pay and when. But I'm just giving you an idea of what can happen. All right? All right. So what do we got? What do we got, Patrice? All right.
All right. So we're going to take an opportunity to also let you know how you can connect with us if you are outside of the U.S. Because many of you are part of our text family, but if you're outside the U.S., you can't connect with us. So I'm going to put that information here, and that is through our Mighty Networks.
Okay.
This way you'll be able to get connections with people from around the world. And I'm going to put in the chat how people you can sign up for that. You can please share that with people in the Caribbean and in other parts of the world that stay connected. And you also get daily devotionals as well. And Pastor Myers even puts from time to time, he'll put particular devotional thoughts in that platform also. And I'm going to put that in the chat. So this is your way to please stay connected with Living Manna Church. We are here to share the manna with you. And now we're to Don Daniel.
All right. So let me see here. I had some questions. So do you all right, let me go back. Okay, this is where my questions start. All right. Jerry says, how do you know when to make the extra payment? Well, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I have a cloud based AI computing system that does all of the math that even directs us to the day. I don't know. I'm just giving you the basics so that you know that this actually does work. But when you plug all this into a computer that is designed to beat the bank at their own game, oh my goodness, it's going to take your current budget, all right? And says, okay, this is how much they make, this is how much they spend, this is how much is left over. So this is how much we'll put in the bank. And when that money in the bank reaches a certain point, then the program is going to ask you to take a certain amount of that money to the penny and tell you which month to apply it in and which loan to apply it to and on what day. Now, the optimum day and the optimum amount of money is a moving target. It is always moving. That's why it takes a ton of math in the background to make sure that when you're doing, you may want to look this term up, critical point analysis. Critical point analysis. What you're trying to find out is the smallest amount of money that you could pay on the particular debt that you're working with to save the maximum amount of interest per dollar. You never want to pay too much. There is a point where more is actually too much. And when you reach that point, it's called the law of diminishing return. Look that up. The law of diminishing return. When you put more on, you don't get a better result. In fact, you get a worse result. So be careful how much money you put on. All right. So our program does all that. Jerry, I don't know. I never know. But I'm just giving you some basics here. Okay. So this is not my program that I'm teaching here. Okay. I'm just giving you some basics so that you can know there's some things that you could do on your own. But if you want to save the maximum amount, then go to ice10k.com and click on get a savings and earnings report and get a free report and see what it's like. All right, there we go. So let me see, what other questions do I have? That's Jerry's question. Sandy's says, so if you make an advance payment on principal, will the regular payment be expected the next month as usual? Definitely. You signed a contract that you're going to make a payment each and every month. So in this case, I'm going to go back to the church where we put $20,000 on at one time. All right. Let's say we started in January. We make a regular payment in January. We put $20,000 with it from the reserve fund, pay down to here in 1 month. Then February's payment, instead of being on line 2, is on line 13. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Out of the reserve fund. I love it. Okay? I love that. Okay? So yeah, you have a payment every single month. But instead of 300 payments, okay, we may be able to get this down to about 84 payments instead of 300. So what you're doing is you're making fewer monthly payments. That's how this works. All right, there you are. All right, so let me see. How do you practically save and put away the interest you are saving as you prepay? You're not putting away interest as you're prepaying. All right, let me dig into that just a little bit, but let me read the whole question. This is Trish. How do you practically save and put away the interest you are saving as you prepay your loan? If you don't have the money to immediately invest, especially when you still have to be paying your mortgage. Okay, so here is what people need to know. Okay, whatever your budget is, that's what you can do. Here's what I found. Because of email and text messaging from your bank, we don't have check registers anymore. We just tell our bank to tell us When our checking account gets too low, we can move money from savings into the checking so we don't bounce payments. We don't keep check registers anymore. We have no idea how much we're spending. People are telling me, they call me all the time and says, so one of our questions that we have to ask people is, how much money do you have left over after all the bills are paid? And they say very little. I've had people tell me none, zero. So here's so I asked them two questions, maybe three. Can you pay all of your bills every month from your income? And they tell me yes. Do you ever have to use savings to pay your monthly bills? And they say, no, I don't. And the third question is, do you ever have to use credit cards to pay your monthly bills if you don't have enough money? They say no. That means they have money left over. Okay, so here's what you have to do. You have to take a look at your entire budget and see how much are you actually spending. How much do you make? And I don't care, you can just write it out on a sheet of paper. How much for a cell phone? How much for cable? How much for gasoline? How much for food? How much for tithe and offering? So how much for all of these things? And I had a lady do this for me once. In fact, we even sent her a budget sheet. We sent her a budget sheet because she said she didn't have any money left over. It took her 3 days to get the budget sheet back to us. I said, well, why did it take so long? She said, because I had to do it over 3 times. I said, well, why was that? It says, because every time I did it, it kept showing me that I had $2,000 left over after paying the bills. Lord have mercy. If we would track our income and track our spending, you would be surprised at how much money is actually left over. And a budget is not about restricting. A budget is about tracking only. It's not trying to tell you what you can do or what you can't do. A budget just says, listen, track your money. Do you know how many people I talk to, they don't even know how much money they make? And they really don't know how much money they're spending. But when you can track it and say, we're going to take care of our bills, we're even going to put in as one of our bills money for just fun so we can create memories with the family. We're going to put that into the budget as well. There's still money left over because we're tracking all of our expenditures. Once all the bills are paid and once the fun money is gone, spending has to stop because now you're tracking it. Does that make sense? And because you put money in for fun, psychologically, you don't feel as if you're working just to pay bills. And that's what causes us to splurge and overspend because we don't put money in the budget for ourselves. Once you start doing that and tracking everything, things look a lot better. Believe me, I've been doing this 18 years. I know. Okay. Does that make sense? So as you now have money to put towards the debt, okay. So let's say our average client pays off all their debt in about 7 years. That's 84 payments. So Trish, so they're done in 7 instead of 30. What if they pretended to continue to pay that mortgage or those student loans? What if they continued to make those payments, but not to the student loan company, not to the car, not to the credit card, and not to the mortgage? What if they pretended they were still paying those and put it in some investment? Doesn't that make sense? They could do that. Now, there's another thing you could do. Once you realize using critical point analysis that we take you through, once you realize that a lot of people I talk to, once we help them to realize how much money they need to put away in savings and how much is going to go towards the debt, there's money left over even in the savings account because the program isn't going to use it all. Because more doesn't help. you save more interest per dollar. So if the program says you've got $10,000 saved up, but it is only asking you to put $3,000 on the mortgage this time, then now you already have money that you can start investing early right out of the savings account. Trish, what do you think? Come on, does that help? Listen, we have coaches at the Pill Method and customer service to go over these questions with you. And so you're not left by yourself. You're actually getting help and education along with the technology along the way. All right. So what other questions do I have? What if the money is borrowed from the conference? Oh, what is this? So extra payments in the same month. Where is that? That's Sandy. Where is that one? Oh, I passed by that. Okay, sorry. Okay. So so if you make an advance payment on principal with a regular repayment, oh no, that's the wrong question. So the extra payments on principal made in the same month as a regular payment, but specifically to be paid on principal. Exactly. Once you make a regular payment, any other monies going to the debt go on principal. That's the only place it can't go. Unless it's on a mortgage and you have escrow. If you're not clear, they'll put that extra money in your escrow account. You know, the money where your taxes and insurance goes. They'll put it there. It doesn't have to stay there. Once you find out it's there, you can get it out. Okay, but if you don't have escrow, if you pay your taxes and insurance on your own, anytime you make a full payment, any extra money in that same month goes to principal. It's that easy. That easy. Okay. Let me see here. What else we've got? What happens to the interest money when you just pay principal only? Okay. So here's what happens. Okay. Every loan that you have, generally an investor buys your mortgage. An investor buys your mortgage. Okay. So when the investor buys the mortgage and the payment is $7,731.62 for this church. When the investor buys this, they're saying, well, listen, they're going to pay for 30 years. That's a pretty good deal. Okay. They get the whole $7,000. This is what the investor gets, $7,731.62. There is no, I need you all to really tune into this now. There is no special pot that principal money goes in and interest money goes in. This is a math problem that gets done at the bank, where out of your $7,731.62, this much is attributed or it is accounted towards principal. Therefore, the rest they call interest. But all the money goes to the investor or to the bank. All of it goes. But the math in the background says, oh, because of the math, we're going to use $1,731.62 and apply it to the principal balance and write it in. So now you owe this. And because the principal payment and the rate of change of the principal payment is so small, you actually have to do this is actually your mortgage payment here. The rest of the money is not mortgage payment. Did you know that? Mortgage money is what you borrowed. You didn't borrow this. You didn't borrow interest payment. Okay. So they're doing a math problem and saying this much is credited towards principal. This much is credited towards interest, but all of the money, every single dime of that money, goes to the bank or the investor. Because the principal payment in their calculation is so small, you have to make a ton of these to pay the 1.2 million or the 300,000 on your house or the $200,000 on your house. But all of the money goes to the bank, all of the money goes to the investor, but it is not a special pot for principal and a special pot for interest. It doesn't work that way. All they're doing is saying, because of the algorithm, here it is. Let me put it on the screen so you can see it. Okay. Amortization. All right. Formula. There it is. Here's the formula that does it. This is the formula that amortizes your loan for 30 years. Right here. This is it. Now, the important thing that this thing does is not really calculate the interest. The important thing it does is calculate the tiny principal payment. So you have to make 360 of these principal payments, and only so much of your whole payment is allotted to principal that all we're doing is writing down how much is allotted to principal, so your principal balance drops. Okay, but there's no pot in the bank that says, here is what I owe, and now I'm putting that on what I owe. It doesn't work that way at all. It's just a math problem. And because that money is so small, you have to make a lot of those. So the interest money doesn't go anywhere. So what happens is this. If I prepay this, if I make a mortgage payment, this $1,731.62 that is applied to principal cost me $6,000 to do that. Out of my money, they're going to take 6,000 of my dollars, okay, and not apply it to my mortgage, but they're only going to apply this to my mortgage. They keep the whole thing. Does that make sense? Now, here's the next thing that happens. If I prepay the $1,740.28 on this line, okay, this is why I like prepaying. Watch this. If I pay it the way the bank wants me to, the $1,740.28 the next month will cost me $5,991.34. If I prepay it, I'm paid down to here on line 2 in 1 month. And then my next mortgage payment is on line 3. What just happened? I got this $1,740.28 applied to principal for free. That's what actually happened. They didn't get to charge me anything to give them that money. So I got this for free. This went to principal for free. If I waited till the next month, they would have got this for principal, would have cost me $5,991.34 to do it. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Okay. If it doesn't, replay it over and over again. It'll sink in. It'll sink in eventually. Okay. It took me 18 years. All right. God has shown me. Listen, I learn more about this all the time. God shows me more and more and more about this. And I understand that because we have been conditioned and taught a different way for our entire lives, this thing takes more time. Okay. Let me show you something else that you need to look at. Okay. This is why it takes so long. I'm putting something on the screen from a famous economist. He's a Nobel Prize winning economist. He wrote the book Thinking Fast and Slow. And he came up with this saying, Wiseati. Wiseati. And it stands for, what you see is all there is. What you see is all there is. You see, when it comes to finances, ladies and gentlemen, what we have seen up till now that you've been, working with us here at the Pill Method and going through these sessions, what you saw, you thought that's what all there was until you came here. It is a cognitive bias described by Daniel Kahneman in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, which explains how irrational we are when making decisions. Now, this is talking about money now, how irrational we are when making decisions and how little it matters to us. What we see is all there is our world. And it's been that way for a very long time. And here comes somebody that says, I've got credible evidence that this piece of evidence, this piece of information is true, and the other is not true. And that causes, for some people, some pain. Okay? That's called cognitive dissonance. Let's look that up. Cognitive dissonance. There it is, cognitive dissonance. The state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. Change is hard, especially when it comes to these finances, because somebody is a liar and been a liar from the beginning and made us believe that we're living paycheck to paycheck when we really aren't. Made us believe that we can't put our children in Christian school. Made us believe that we couldn't pay our bills correctly. Made us believe that we could not pay off a 30-year mortgage in 7 years. Made us believe that we couldn't handle our money correctly. Made us believe that there is not a whole lot that we can do, and made us believe that 9 out of 10 people we know will never pay off a mortgage. We see it every day. If you count it up, 9 out of 10 people will never pay off a mortgage. That is a system, ladies and gentlemen. That is a system, ladies and gentlemen, where 90% of us are set up to fail. Why are we engaged in a system where 90% of us are set up to fail, and then we hear credible information where 90% of us can actually win? It's hard for us to wrap our minds around. It's called cognitive dissonance. Any psychologists out there know what I'm talking about. If your friend is a psychologist, talk to them. They'll explain it to you. I'm telling you, when it comes to this, the enemy, the devil, does not want you to understand how money actually works. Does not. Okay, what's our next question? Okay, hour and 43 minutes. We're going to be done in 2 hours. Okay. All right. What's our next question? We have another question here. How do we make extra payment? How do we practically? Okay. Yeah, talk to me offline, Sandy. Can we purchase that program? Yeah, it is a business. We are in business. Once you fill out a savings and earnings report, once you fill that out, you'll know the month, day, and year you can be debt free, and how much interest you can save, and how much of that saved interest will actually pay for your program. We're gonna show you how to make your bank pay for it. All that extra interest they're charging you, you're not going to pay it anymore. Okay. All right. Thanks for asking. All right. What if what if the money is borrowed from the conference? Oh yeah. You can pay back the conference early. Conferences pay us back early. We can help another church. It works the same way. Okay, it works the same way. And if they need a little help with understanding how an amortization schedule works, give me a call and I'll let you know. Listen, folks, listen, I travel, I travel internationally to speak on this issue. So if your church or your conference or your camp meeting wants to have something for um, stewardship day, you can invite us in. All my information is at ice10k.com. We'll be glad to come. All right, let me know. But I'll tell you this. If you invite us in, and listen, this is not throwing stones. It's just the truth. If you invite us in and you've invited, you had Dave Ramsey's program in, you'll never invite him back because frankly, this is better. I mean, he's been doing what he's been doing for what? 30, 40 years? And it has worked for a lot of people. But here's my question. Do you think something that's been going on for 30 or 40 years can be improved in that much time? Yeah, I think there's some improvements that can be done. And God has blessed us with those improvements. All right. So, yeah, if you invite us in, nobody else gets invited back. I'm telling you, the information is that powerful. Okay. So let me see. What happens? Okay. We did that question. Oh, yes, Richard. What about what about paying off a car loan? Yeah, works the same way. We do the same system for car loans. Okay, we do that. All right. I think I've handled all the questions for tonight. You have to. Oh, let's see. You don't have. Oh, that was Damon. Damon, listen. I need to talk to you because you know some stuff. Okay. Richard Tibbs. Okay, that yes for the car loan, and that's it. We're done with the questions. Listen, everybody, thank you so very much. Thank you for being here, and hanging out with me. I hope this has been a blessing. I hope that it's been a blessing. So let's go ahead and put the rest of the links in. So we're going to put in ICE10K. We're going to put in thepillmethod.com. Okay, that is to the website. And I'm going to put on the screen, my 10K card. All right. It is a digital business card. And the first picture you see here, all right, is Eric Thomas, Dr. Eric Thomas, who actually graduated from Oakwood University. He's the number one motivational speaker in the world. Dr. Eric Thomas. Okay. And he says, oh, because we no longer had a mortgage. He used our program. He used our information to pay off his mortgage faster. Thank you, Dr. Eric, for saying it. We appreciate you. All right. So you scroll down under his name and you click on Get Your Savings and Earnings Report. And that's what you get. Don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Get your savings and earnings report for free. There you go. You can have that. Okay. It's 2 steps. Fill out this step and then you will confirm your email address and then let you into the financial form so that you can put your information in. Once you do that, somebody from our staff will give you a call to confirm your data before we complete the analysis for you. All right. The savings and earnings report. Okay. There you go. All right. And let's see here. We've got that. Oh, we're going to go back. Okay. And down here is my book. So and we're putting a link in the chat for the book as well. Okay. We've got my book down here. You can get the book. Now, not everybody qualifies for our program. Not everybody has enough debt. Okay. And you may just get a little bit of advice from us, but everybody gets help. Whether you can get on our program or not, it's not built for everyone because not everyone has enough debt. You can get the book and get some counseling and handle the small amount of debt that you have. Okay. All right. There you go. Let's see here. So where's the book today? All right. Where's the book today? Let me see here. We are number 4. We are number 4. Listen, this is Seventh-day Adventist of Christianity. All right. Best selling on Amazon. Today, we are number 4. Okay. So whoever bought the book, thank you. You moved us up to number 4. We've been at number 1 about 6 times. Well, at least 6 times. Could be more. Okay. But we're doing pretty good. So thank you for purchasing the book. We appreciate you for that. All right. And that's it. We have, the YouTube channel. Don't forget the YouTube channel. All right. Listen, there is a lot of information on our YouTube channel. Okay. We have over 200. We got 277 shows up right now. 277 shows. You just click on where it says live and you can see all the streams. Okay. All kinds of information that we've been doing for years. So there you go. That is free to you. So, and tomorrow we have a replay up. We have a replay for tomorrow. All right. Where did it go? Oh, wait a second here. Let's go back to home. Okay. We have a replay for tomorrow. Paying off credit cards. I will not be live tomorrow. Okay. This is a replay and they go on at 7 a.m., but you can watch it later. Okay. And let's not forget next week. Next week, we're talking about investments and retirement with a financial expert is coming on. His name is Perry Jeffries. We put his link in the chat so you can kind of read up on him in the meantime. It's going to be, listen, next week, you thought the other weeks were exciting. This one coming up is going to be absolutely the best because now we're going to talk about what you can do with your money to make more money so that you can make more so you can give more. You can make more so you can give more. How about that? Kids, listen, the Bible says that we tithe off the increase. We tithe off our increase. So do you know there's a lot in the Bible in the spirit of prophecy that talks about how to get your increase? We're going to be talking about getting your increase so you can give more when you can have more. All right. And listen, I think I'm working up something for our last, our 8th program on the parable of the talents, because I love that. The parable of the talents. We're going to be going over that and how it applies to modern times. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about that. That's going to be in week 8. Okay. But thank you, Patrice. Do you have anything for us before we get out of here?
No, that's it, Don. We want to thank everybody for being here with us tonight. As always, please make sure that you follow Don on all of his social media. And right there, you'll see it right up on his YouTube channel, The Pill Method. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow, as he said, at 7 a.m., 7:30 will be the replay he has on how to pay off credit card debt.
Yes, how to pay off credit card debt.
Let's get that information before the holidays and not dig out to go dig back in again. So anyway, everybody, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Don, any closing remarks before we have closing prayer?
Well, thank you. I just want to be able to listen, Pill Method is on all your social media. So you just search for Pill Method on Instagram, search Pill Method on Twitter, and what's the new one from Mark Zuckerberg? Okay, we're on that. So
Threads.
Yes, we're on that too, and on TikTok. And so, search us out. We got a lot of information out there. Listen, it's just been a pleasure speaking with you. I have such a good time doing this. I probably have too good a time. It's such a good time. And it may be hard for some people to take the information seriously, but listen, this is serious information. You're not going to get this from your accountant, from your banker, from your real estate agent, from your mortgage professional, from your CFP, your certified financial planner. You're not going to get this information from those places. The reason why is God gave it to me and now I'm giving it to you. I didn't learn it anywhere else. I have a good time giving and sharing it. But please take it serious, because it's about time that the truth is told about how our money works. Okay? And we're going to get into more of that next week. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for once again showing up and showing out, giving us information that we vitally need. And we're going to be helping people with their student loans and with mortgages and with credit cards and with car loans. And so that, Father, if we can get a handle on our finances, if we can learn how to manage the resources that you've given us, we can have more so that we can give more. So, Father, thank you for giving this information to us, and help us to use it to your glory. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, everyone. Don't forget, be here next week and send in your questions early. And Perry Jeffries is coming to answer your questions about investing and retirement. See you next week.